Ladies and gentlemen, coming next is the panel of Sustainability, Shaping the Future Business Landscape under the Young Executive Program, YEP. We are glad to have received tremendous support from industries in youth engagement initiatives and cultivating entrepreneurship among the new generations of young leaders. May I thank the following supporting organizations in alphabetical order of their names, including the Chinese General Chamber of Commerce, the Chinese Manufacturers Associations of Hong Kong, Federations of Hong Kong Industries, Hong Kong Chinese Enterprises Association, Hong Kong General Chamber of Commerce, Hong Kong General Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, Hong Kong Institute of Certified Public Accountants, Hong Kong Importers and Exporters Association, Entrepreneurship Center, the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, iDendron, the University of Hong Kong, Knowledge Transfer Office, Hong Kong Baptist University. A big thank you to all our supporting organizations. The YEP aims to foster business cooperations and networking between the young members of the Federation worldwide and the local young entrepreneurs in Hong Kong. Themed as Sustainability, Shaping the Future Business Landscape, we are pleased to invite Mr. Danny Lee, Managing Partner, VCA Capital Limited, and Senior Advisor, Blue Pool Capital, to chair the session for us today. With Danny, please join us on stage. We are excited to share with you that a panel of 3 young innovators would also share with us their global experience, products, and teams in the journey of entrepreneurship. They include Mr. Daniel Dallin, CEO, Daniel Dallin Design Limited. Mr. Martin Zhu, co-founder, i2Cool Limited. Mr. Kelvin Tang, co-founder and CEO, Ponce AI. Let's welcome our panel chair and panelists with another round of applause. Danny, may I now pass the time to you?
Thank you, and welcome everyone. I have the honor today of being the oldest member on this panel to talk about the young entrepreneur experiences. So by the color of my hair, I clearly don't belong. Slightly different vintage, but nonetheless, great to be here. And today, you guys are the main characters. So we'd love to hear your experiences, your connections to Hong Kong, and hopefully people here and people online can learn more from your experiences. Okay, I think we start with some introduction, I believe. So there should be a slides up for some of our entrepreneurs to introduce their business and what they do. Okay, Daniel, looks like you're first.
Beautiful, that's me, Daniel Dallin. And as you can see on the screen, it says Daniel Dallin and who am I? Which I'm going to explain to you right now. So, who am I? My name is Daniel Dallin, and I actually started my journey when I was around the age of 16, which was pretty young. And obviously a very strong connection to Hong Kong as well as mainland China, where I started off very young as a freelancer, both in Hong Kong, China, and Europe, solely driven by curiosity. So I started off as a designer and basically started to do anything to facilitate a really good experience. Moving on to taking a year in computer science, which I did in mainland. And the reason why is because I always explain the reason behind me studying computer science as, and I take Tesla as an example. There's always 2 teams that work on a car, one that makes the car look nice and one that makes the car drive. And if you swap those 2 teams, you'll get an ugly car that won't drive. And at that point, I knew exactly how to make the car look nice, but I had no clue how to make the car drive, which was exactly why I ended up studying computer science. Moving on to building my first SaaS product, which was based out of Hong Kong, focusing on the packaging industry, which was the first software that I built, and everything was based within Hong Kong. Moving on to a trading platform with roughly a team of 40 people that grew pretty fast prior to the current circumstances, And moving on to today, where I actually started to document a lot of my journey through content creation, mainly to inspire the younger generation as well, doing close to 30 million views consistently within a few months of starting, where now we are running an umbrella of software companies that we launch to this audience, and as well, of course, with individual marketing strategies, creating a lot of traffic to these platforms that are mainly focused on impact and profitability and reoccurring subscriptions. Moving on to the last thing that I do, I myself as a young entrepreneur also help companies on a very high level with these kind of strategies and take the wins and successes out of my own businesses and help other companies do the same. Where now today I'm going to introduce you to one of my latest products, which is called Receive. And what we do is we focus on tokenization, where we tokenize interactions through engagement and tendons, which is allowing you to identify your community, rewarding them with the internal ability to monitor loyal customers and digitally verifying products, brands, or events. And this is a mouthful, and it's very complicated, but it's mainly within the new industry, which is based on digital identities, which I'll get to in a second, where there's going to be a lot of different events that you are able to tokenize and kind of segment your audience, which, for example, could be online events. These could be releases of certain events, or let's say music, you name it, YouTube videos, podcasts, or for example, an event like this where I'm speaking, where the main focus is throughout my entire journey as a career, there's a lot of people supporting me from left to right, and it's extremely hard to identify them and make sure that you track who's been with you from the very start, which is why tokenizing certain interactions allows you to create a database that consists forever and that you can identify who's been with you throughout your journey, which is one of the use cases, where we focus on integrating this with the actual social presence, where you are able to verify certain activities, certain products within the digital world. And the reason I'm going to show you right now how this works, because I am extremely grateful to be given this opportunity and everyone in this room listening to me and me taking your time. And I would like to document that on chain, meaning that you get to connect yourself to me as an entrepreneur, allowing me to identify this specific moment in time where, for example, if I were 5 years from now to write, let's say, a book, I can give that away for free because you've connected yourself to me as an entrepreneur within this specific moment in time. So yeah, that's me.
Great, thank you. I see a lot of phones coming out as well, connecting themselves to you. So great. Next, I think do we have Martin?
Yeah, hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Martin, and actually our team is doing cooling technology that can be applied on the roof or external wall of the building for energy saving. And this is me. I just graduated from a PhD program in CTU, School of Energy and Environment. And actually our research group is focusing on everything about the energy saving in buildings because of the global warming and climate change recently. We need to spend a lot of energy in air cooling each year, resulting in a large amount of energy consumption and carbon emission. So if we have a method to reduce the energy consumption of the air conditioning system, it would be great for both our world and the economy. And one of the strategies we do is to create the cooling power on the envelope of the building. In the traditional market, people always use some cooling paint or heat refractive paint that reflects the visible light to keep the surface cool. And in our technology, we actually got inspired by the Sahara silver ant. And this ant can survive in the desert with a super hot environment. This is because of the special skin structure that can generate the cooling power and convert the heat of the body and into the radiation and flow to the cold universe. And based on this principle, we invented a cooling paint that can reflect most of the sunlight, and at the meanwhile, it can convert the energy of the building or the internal heat source of the building into the 8 to 30 micron of the thermal radiation. And this wavelength is actually transparent to our atmosphere. It means that the heat dissipated from the cooler can just pass through the atmosphere and be absorbed by the cold universe. That's why we can generate the cooling power without any energy input for energy saving. This is the working principle. And actually, our research group, and as well as myself, have been studied in CTU in this program for 4 years. And in the past 6 years, we have published over 70 papers in top international journals. And actually, we are the first group in Asia to start the radiated cooling study. And we have accumulated a lot of knowledge and experience in the heat transfer area and finally come up with the product. And this is our team, and actually not only myself, but my PhD supervisor, Dr. Edwin Cho from CTU, and also the Vice President in Polytechnic University of Hong Kong, Professor Chow, is also one of our co-founders. And we have two more consultants who are Dr. Winnie Tang, the faculty member in the computer science in Hong Kong University, and she will help us to connect to the GIS system. I mean, we can extend our cooling materials with the city or urban planning and for the green city construction. And we also have Mr. Han Jisin to be one of our consultants to connect us with the industry, because we also want to promote our technology outside Hong Kong. And actually, we think that Hong Kong is a great hub for us to connect with different resources in the world, because Hong Kong is an international city. No matter the mainland China or the world, we can utilize these resources to expand our technology. And in the real application, we can find that our surface, our material on the surface can reduce 40 degrees C for the roof and 10 degrees C for the indoor air temperature. And our client in Hong Kong has tested the performance on the roof of a shopping mall in Mong Kok. And it is found that the energy consumption of the air conditioning system can be reduced by 42%. And they just can get payback within 1 month. And our cooling durability can be last for 5 to 10 years. So it is really a good choice for our partner to save their electricity and operation costs. And this is another the advantage of Hong Kong is that Hong Kong is a very high-density city. If you are doing the project, you can find a lot of application very easily, because we have a lot of high-rise buildings everywhere, shopping mall and residential buildings, etc. So actually, in the past 1 year, we have done more than 20 projects in Hong Kong and well verify our technology. And in the future, we will develop our technology outside Hong Kong based on our current job cases. And we have accumulated more than 20 partners in Hong Kong. And in the future, we will scale up our production, because currently we have went factory in the Greater Bay Area. Because Hong Kong is quite close to this area, we can utilize the industrial resources in the Greater Bay Area very easily to scale up. So it is quite enough for us to extend our business. And also Hong Kong is a very good media center that the information is go out very easily. So we can do a lot of media press promotion and do a lot of international expo like this, the E-Day today. We have a booth in the end zone. So if you guys are available in the coming few days, you can go there to take a look. And I think it is a very good place for us to do the promotion and extension. And we hope that we can promote this technology outside Hong Kong and promote the carbon neutrality globally. Thank you.
That's very impressive, Martin. I liked how you speak so quickly. You matched the time almost exactly. And I hope you got Adam Kwok's business card while he's here, because there's a lot of business for you potentially there. So last but not least, we have Kelvin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kelvin, co-founder and CEO of Ponds AI. Great to be here, sharing my experience along with, great, young entrepreneurs like, the panelists. So can you see my deck? Maybe we can start showing. So yeah, Ponds AI is an AI generative digital collectibles platform for digital brand marketing. And we're here to drive Web3 mass adoption in an ESG-friendly way and to transform the USD 242 billion corporate gift market, which is US alone, for the better. And so a little bit of our background. So we were actually incubated by Sequoia China and Hong Kong X Foundation. Thank you very much to Nicole and her team over there. We're also part of the Hong Kong AI Lab, Hong Kong Science Park incubation program. And I see Sunny and Peter over there as well. And we are part of the NVIDIA Inception program for AI startups. And in terms of blockchain, we're built on eco-friendly blockchains like Flow and Polygon, and we support MetaMask. And I was very fortunate to be able to meet with President Xi at Hong Kong Science Park when he came to Hong Kong. And it really sort of highlights the importance of art and tech going forward for Hong Kong. So we are not just an international financial center, but we'll work very hard on becoming an international arts and culture hub and also an international I&T hub together with our global partners. And so, we won some Startup Express award together with Hong Kong TDC, so that's why we're showcasing here as well. And we were invited by Google Cloud to share some Web3 actual use case beyond the hype. And we actually recently showcased at Web Summit as well in Lisbon, which is one of the largest tech conferences in the world, and we'll be in the US showcasing at CES together with Hong Kong TDC to explore the US market as well. And we have some special exposure with K11 Musea and Alibaba Entrepreneurs Fund. So the problem that we are really here to solve is how to properly adopt Web3 for almost all businesses worldwide. And we're really here to empower the meaningful long-term Web3 engagements to delight customers. And you may have heard of Nike already made about like hundreds and 200 million off of NFTs, and Web3, Starbucks launching their own Web3 loyalty program. Porsche actually just launched a Web3 loyalty program as well. And so if Web3 is the next iteration of the internet, then we have to focus on ESG from day one. And that's why we have chosen to be built on eco-friendly blockchains like Flow and Polygon, which are basically minting an NFT on Flow costs less energy than a Google search or an Instagram post. And so our app basically has an integrated value chain for the entire Web3 digital economy. So if you think of the Web3 digital economy, we have our AI as the manufacturer, making digital assets that can be transferred through the blockchain to anyone in the world instantaneously, and making these NFT useful for brand marketing, for example. And so we really have the entire value chain, and this is all made in seconds rather than waiting, subjective to sort of supply chain issues or like lead time and that kind of thing. And yeah, so we basically offer 10 times better than physical corporate gifts. We have AI-generated corporate gifts. And so one of our examples is like actually you come to an event like this, you upload a picture of yourself, and our AI basically learns an artist's art style and draws everyone's face on demand. And you can have a 2D digital collectible, as a memorabilia, but you can also use it as a discount voucher and loyalty program stamps and that kind of thing. And we actually worked with HSBC and Checkpoint and many more companies as well on sort of digital brand marketing. And the funny thing, the very interesting thing is actually the 3D digital collectible side of things. So you can actually write some text and generate a 3D digital collectible, and being able to brand them, on demand. And this is definitely much better, much more eco-friendly than the traditional corporate gift market. And we also help artists. One second, sorry. We also help artists sell their works worldwide. So artists, they sell physical and NFT works on our platform, but at the same time, our AI can learn the artist's art style. So every NFT that is minted with the artist's art style, they get a resale royalty. So this panel is about sustainability. It's not just about eco-friendly sustainability, but it's also about financial sustainability for us, for artists. And this is our team. We have a global team. We just hired some more AI engineers from Tsinghua and Berkeley, and we have AI engineers from the UK and the US as well. And we are definitely looking to scale our company, sort of globally. And I hope you understand that Hong Kong is definitely open. It is a great place to do business. And happy to be talking to you all later. So thank you very much.
So Calvin, are we going to get some gifts after this?
I'll leave it for Daniel this time, but happily to speak to me, and I can do something for you.
All right, great. Okay, so now I, being the moderator, I get the good fortune of asking the first questions, and please prepare your questions. I think you heard about their businesses. I'm sure you have a lot of questions about exactly how that is, what they're doing, and how it impacts your businesses, etc. But I get to ask the first question. So lucky me. Being that I'm in the investment business, I have to kind of start with the obvious question. So Daniel, I'll start with you. Like, how did you, what is your connection to Hong Kong? Like, what's the business? Why did you start a business in Hong Kong? What's the connection?
So the first time I went to Asia was around the age of 12, and I, to this day, remember passing through Hong Kong and looking outside of the window of my plane and looking at an incredible skyline. And I looked at my dad, and I was 12 years old, and I was like, Dad, one day I'm gonna live here. And I was so impressed by the energy that the city brings, and especially kind of the gateway that it is to the mainland, and how it's, especially as someone that has partly grew up in China, and I always make the joke that I put the Asian in Caucasian, even though I look very Caucasian. I obviously grew up with the culture, you know, it's like the language, the culture itself, and Hong Kong to me is a perfect place for the balance between those two worlds. And that's why at a very young age, 16 to be exact, or 17, I incorporated my first limited company in Hong Kong, which is where I've been based ever since.
Actually, how old are you today?
I'm 25 currently.
You're 25, and so you have a working experience of running a business for 8 years now?
Yeah, well, I started when I was 16, and the reason why was because I kind of wasn't fitting in, and I tried to figure things out on my own, which worked out pretty well. Yeah, I started really young indeed. Yeah.
Great. Actually, you know, we all say young entrepreneurs, but we haven't, for me at least, haven't asked your age. So, Martin, how old are you? Well, how old were you when you first started your business?
I'm 28 this year, and I started my business actually last year, 27.
27.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, talk to us a little bit about how you kind of started. I mean, it sounds like you're from Hong Kong, born and raised.
Actually, I'm from Guangzhou.
You're from Guangzhou?
Yeah, I'm Guangzhou. Yeah, I came to Hong Kong 5 years ago for
Okay.
a master study, and then I started a PhD study in Hong Kong as well. And after that, in my PhD study, we studied the heat transfer theory. But at the end, we think that if we couldn't utilize our technology developed in the university, the technology will be wasted. So that's why we have the ultimate goal, which is to commercialize our technology in the university. And last year, encouraged by the CTU Hong Kong Tech 300 program, which is an entrepreneurship program, encouraging the student and the professor to have a startup company together. And then we follow the program instruction, and then we think that, oh, actually, our technology is really suitable for the hot environment in Hong Kong. So that's why we started the company in the mid of last year.
I see. But Hong Kong is home now for you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And I mean, what you've done actually is quite, from my understanding, is quite difficult, right? I mean, because you actually invented a technology. I assume you applied for patents and all of that.
Yeah, we have the patent in Hong Kong, mainland China, and the United States. And actually, at the beginning, we couldn't use this technology in a large scale manner because of the price. As you know, a lab invention is always very expensive at the beginning. In 6 years ago, when my supervisor came back from UC Berkeley, he started the radiator cooling study, which is our technology in Hong Kong. And back to that time, the price of the technology is very expensive. We can just fabricate a very small cooler. It's just like 10 cm times 10 cm is like a hand. It takes like 20,000 Hong Kong dollars in this very small size. And in the past 6 years, we did a lot of efforts to optimize the material using some cheap and also in good performance nano materials to replace the heavy metal materials to cost it down. And finally, we can make the cost very low and very close to some common building material. So at the end, we can come up with the product in a low price and good performance.
Great. Kelvin, tell us how old you are.
I'm actually the oldest out of all the young entrepreneurs.
Except for me, of course. Yes.
Maybe older than you. No, I'm actually 30. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You look so young.
Oh yeah, everybody says that. I guess because I 養生, it's like I take care of my health, So.
I thought you were 20 something.
Oh yeah. Oh, well, thank you.
I had no idea this conversation is going to take that turn. But okay. All right. All right. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about, because you sounds like you do a lot of work with art, right? So, for example, you mentioned the Palace Museum and some of that stuff. Right. So I'm a patron to the Palace Museum. So what exactly are you doing that for someone like me who also enjoys art? How are you making it more interesting for us, for the visitors to the museums?
100%. So I guess a little bit of my background as well before. So I was born here in Hong Kong, and then I went to the UK to study, spent half my life there. And I was a musician back then. The band continues to play today, so I was a creator. And my bachelor sort of dissertation was on neuroaesthetics. So I studied neuroscience, and neuroaesthetics basically means how the brain appreciates aesthetics. And so that's how I got more into the art world. And then, I did all the banking consulting stuff after I graduated from my master's at the LSE. And then I just had an existential crisis of why, of what I want to do in my life, basically. So I actually wanted to combine business, innovation, and creativity. And so one of the first things is actually, I loved going to the museum in the UK. They have a fantastic ecosystem, like, British Museum, and Tate Modern, that kind of thing. But then also, I feel like the arts and culture ecosystem is a little bit backwards. There ought to be innovation and cutting-edge technology injected into it. So yeah, we are in talks with like M+, Palace Museum, that kind of thing. And it's actually, imagine, you go to a museum today anywhere in the world, the experience is still pretty similar to, I would say, 200 years ago. You just go there and some art is hung on a wall. But imagine now with AI and blockchain, actually the AI can learn, let's say, a Qing Dynasty art style, and that AI draws you in that Qing Dynasty art style, and you can share it on social media. So basically turning it into an NFT, a digital asset, and then you can utilize it as a discount voucher or entering exclusive communities just with this token. So this is what we want to do, is by basically utilizing AI to make art scalable, but at the same time, if it collaborates with a living artist, the living artist can have a royalty from every NFT that is minted. So it's actually creating a passive income stream for them. So that's what we want to empower. And so, we're looking for ways to utilize cutting-edge technology to empower the arts and culture ecosystem.
Sounds great. So you already got into a little bit of the business model question. So I could kind of jump right back to Daniel here and say, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business model? So how is your startup going to make money?
So obviously we have a few different engines, and one of them is the content creation, which is nowadays a very valuable currency is attention. You either pay for it or you earn it through consumption of the end user. And within that ecosystem, we're basically set the community around the creation of content and the generation of traffic that we push towards the products. We have a few very like practical solutions in terms of software. So there is a front end that is a lot of informative theoretical knowledge, and we solve those issues through practical solutions, which is where the software comes into play. And of course, me myself, as someone that has a lot of experience in the Web3 space, from actual tokenization to a trading platform, I have a tremendous amount of passion for this technology, and I see how the new web, especially as someone that grew up gaming a lot, because I didn't have, as I said in the beginning, I didn't really fit in, didn't have too many friends, so I was gaming a lot. And proof of ownership makes incredible much sense, and the Web3 technology empowers this. So with the product that we are currently building, which in some extent is a similar mission to Kelvin's, where we try and tokenize, for example, an event like this where people get to connect themselves to me as an entrepreneur in the form of a token. So on Kelvin's part, there's an AI generative asset that is the actual kind of tangible feeling of what you get. But the underlying technology is using that as an identifier that you've been to this event or whatever interaction there could be. And of course, that opens the door of possibilities to integrate that with marketplaces where, if you look at the gaming industry, there's a massive amount of transactional volume that goes into trading different digital items, from skins to even event tickets on like resale platforms. And of course, that is what we facilitate. And we also consult and help people to get into the space without it actually feeling like it's this whole new NFT Web3 technology, because there's a lot of stigma around the technology, especially due to recent circumstances. But the technology to me is groundbreaking, and I myself am on a mission to empower that and bring a lot of new people to the space, because I see tremendous value to this technology, and even to the extent where, as Kelvin said as well, where you have royalties that come into place, where artists or creators like me, myself, and I keep bringing up the example of the book, where in 5 years from now, For what, you know, I were to write anything and I would give that back and that book would retail for 50 euros. Let's say you, for some reason, do not feel the need to read my book because you've been consuming all of my online content. If there was to be a marketplace in place that could facilitate you selling that token based on the 50 euros of retail value, you could sell that for 30 or 40 euros because someone could buy that instead of spending 50 euros, which of course is compensating me as a creator on royalties, where I get 10% of that transactional volume, where I've created value by simply gifting you a token that you can use in a later stage, or me as an entrepreneur can, of course, use in whatever way. So that kind of is what we do. And then we have the traditional SaaS models, which are just reoccurring subscriptions, which of course solve problems. And that is a very scalable, profitable business, which we also use to fund other parts of the companies that we own.
So there's a lot of business people here that I guess own businesses of their own and trade organizations. If they were to ask you to help them kind of, you know, get more businesses and things like that, you know, what exactly are you offering to them?
So of course I myself could help in terms of building the product and give my experience on how I've been doing this for years, but in terms of the actual Web3 product, which is called Receive, we can facilitate digitizing events, we can facilitate digitizing certain products where proof of ownership comes into place, and then I'm particularly talking about the high-end market where you could be talking about you know, prestigious watch brands where verification is quite a big issue.
Yeah. Let's use that as a concrete example, because I want to make sure that people here, you know, I want to marry the existing world with the Web3
Gotcha.
world, right?
Yeah.
So use the watch brand. Someone owns a watch company or a watch shop, and they want to market this watch, they want to sell this watch.
Yeah.
How are you helping it?
So there's two levels. Of course, there's production. So the watch is actually being made, which is based on a serial number. And through tokenizing, for example, the creation of the watch with on-chain data is where exactly you can identify that physical piece to a digital piece. Then there's another level which we are currently exploring where, for example, you have social platforms such as Instagram that allow you to post photos. And a lot of people in nowadays world, which is the reality that we live in, love to share a lot online. And being able to verify, for example, you owning a specific item that is digitally verifiable, because my argument were to be that a lot of people online, or more people online, see the products that you want to associate yourself with within these digital environments. And the other level of depth that we add to this experience is that it's directly connected to the brand itself. So if we take a watch brand as an example, within this social environment, which you could have seen on the slide when I was introducing myself, that there's a level of depth of community building, where the product that is owned is verified within a digital environment, which directly connects itself back to the brand itself, where you do a lot of basically building of your own brand within the digital environment based on proof of ownership. So it is difficult to understand as proof of ownership is still relatively new, but that's the world that we're heading, or at least that's what I believe, and we're facilitating digitizing these products and verifying within any kind of digital environment.
I think
Yeah, can I add to that as well? I think Daniel has done some great sharing there. I would just give you some concrete examples from existing brands. So like Nike, for example, they have partnered up with a Web3 company called Artifact. And what they do is actually Artifact designs the metaverse shoe, right? And the shoes are absolutely crazy, and you can collaborate, you know, these shoes with really popular brands. And you launch these NFTs, well, first, as a sort of design. So people can utilize them in the metaverse, but you can also redeem it in the physical world. So it's a one-of-one, really unique shoe. So for a watch brand, it can do exactly the same thing, and actually it can have transformative impact on the supply chain as well. So you can just sort of have an understanding of what your customers want first digitally, and then if they want to redeem it, if they've, like, you know, gone through the loyalty system and can redeem it, then you can just make them on demand. So the supply chain, you know, restructuring is quite interesting over there, and this sort of applies to all kind of industries. The second one would be sort of the provenance. So if you think about luxury watch, obviously I want to know whether this is 10 of 10, 1 of 1, whatever. The blockchain gives a tremendous, you know, step up to this provenance game, because you don't have to have some sort of verifier to, spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to verify whether this is real. You can just go on the blockchain and see if this is actually minted by the creator or the brand. So this is very powerful. The third one would be the utility. So you can utilize these NFTs as an exclusive, token to go to some exclusive events. So let's say only these people who have this NFT token can go to this exclusive event. Well, I would like to meet some luxury watch lovers as well. And so this is a great way to bring communities together. So I would say sort of like the supply chain restructuring, the provenance, and also the utilities. Yeah.
Thank you. I think, let me summarize a little bit, because I think for us older guys here, I think we need a slightly different translation. Basically, what he's saying is that using blockchain and crypto, you can authenticate your products digitally. Okay, that's the simplest I can put it. That's one thing. The second thing you can do is that because younger people, unlike, we're a crowd, the older guys are a crowd, the younger people are a crowd, they like different things. They actually like stuff on the digital. They don't mind showing their pictures on their phone to their friends instead of hanging on the wall. So you build communities, right? That's what I'm hearing you guys saying. You build communities by doing this digitally. There's people on Instagram, instead of hanging out in Hong Kong Club, they go to Instagram and share and enjoy their products. So if your companies are trying to hit this space, younger audiences, younger consumers, your companies are the ones that enable that to happen, right? So if they need your help, to like, how do I get on the Web3? How do I do all this stuff? They could give you guys a call and they can help you.
Exactly.
You can help them, right?
Yep, you've done this sharing better than us, so you might as well just be a panelist.
That's why I'm the moderator, see? All right, now go from the virtual world back into the concrete world, the analog world, the physical world. Okay, so paint that can, part of our topic is sustainability, right? So I think your product hits that right at home. I think this is something that I can see. It's the trends for sure is happening, right? It's basically requirements now around the world for this. Any building needs to be green, etc. So, what is the most challenging part of building your business? Was it inventing the technology itself? Was it scaling it? Was it trying to convince a real estate developer to use your product? What was the most difficult part?
I think one of the most challenging part is to promote the materials because technically our materials can save the energy so that we can calculate the payback period for our client. But the cooling materials is not a must to construct a building. I mean, without our materials, the building can still be built. But it's just like an extra cost for the building owners. So actually, we need to convince the building owners to adopt our technology as an extra cost. And because they can just get payback in within 1 year, so they can just keep earning money by saving the electricity costs, the operation costs. And that's why we need to educate the market to tell them that actually we can save their money instead of an extra cost for them.
So this doesn't replace the existing paint.
Yeah.
It's on top of the existing paint.
Yeah. It's a new product and new application.
Okay, so let's say convention center.
Yeah.
So today they can go and paint it on top of it. And it helps them save energy.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, well, I think a lot of you guys here could use that. But like I said, the question remains: what is, in terms from a business perspective, what is the most difficult part of it? Like to sell this product. It sounds like a great product. I wonder why people wouldn't want to use it. But so, what is the biggest pushback you get?
I think some of the clients may just want more diverse modes instead of just buying our material directly, and some of them may just don't want to invest the money at the beginning, so we also can provide the energy management service to them. At the beginning, we don't charge them for everything, for the material costs and application costs, but we share the energy reduction in the coming 10 years with our clients. This is one of our methods to convince them to adopt our technology technology. And the second one is that they may need different colors of the material. Because in our first generation of the cooling paint, we use the white as our color option. But for the architecture design issue, they may need different colors because the white color will be the best for the solar reflection. So it will be greatest for, it will be best for the cooling. But based on the feedback of our client, we did some changes to our technology, which is to use some special nanomaterials to fine-tune the visible light absorption range, such that our our material can display different colors, but we can keep the high solar reflectivity. So this is our second generation of materials. And also for some feedback of our clients is that they may don't want to use the painting materials. They may need the ceramic and textile. So that's why we will have some new R&D to make a new product to fit in the market.
I see. So same questions to Kelvin and Daniel. When you guys are doing your startups, what is the biggest pushback for you guys? When you try to pitch your ideas. Maybe Kelvin, go first.
Sure, yeah. So we actually have a lot of interest from different corporates because they see what Nike and Tiffany & Co. and Porsche are doing, etc., Starbucks. But then the biggest pushback would be actually, I think, the market sentiment around Web3 and NFT, because there is a lot of misunderstanding, and rightfully so, because there are a lot of NFT scams and FTX blowing up, that kind of thing. It's like, people are trying to understand this technology, but it's actually so hard to understand as well, because when they get in, it's like they need to sort of find out what is a crypto wallet, what is a blockchain, what is an NFT. It's too much for most people. So there's a technical barrier. And then the second thing would be the market sentiment, just bad actors in the space, sort of ruining everything for everyone else. But still, there is tremendous support in this field, not only in Asia, not only in the US, but actually in Europe. So I went to Token 2049 London. Still a lot of builders in this space. Very much a lot of people are still bullish on the idea of digital ownership. And I think if the digital economy has to grow, and it will continue to grow, digital ownership is a must. And also new ways to engage customers, as you said, like the younger demographics, they like this kind of stuff, and sort of empowering a better internet going forward. It's more open rather than just focusing on a few monopolies like Facebook and that kind of thing. And so you hear people talk about the open metaverse. Is basically an open internet that your assets can be used interoperably, so on different blockchains and so on. So there is pushback, but interest is at an all-time high still. So it's just, for us, it's about educating them step by step, and also showcasing them like successful cases and how we can help them deliver those successful cases and with real usage, like a real value add. So,
Daniel?
Correct, yeah. I would say for me that concludes, because the kind of situation is very similar. Interest is sky high. But I would say the only thing that we're currently struggling with is the infrastructure, where if you were to take a bank as an example, I would love to send you money, but if you don't have a bank account, I can't do it, right? And I think for me, the kind of take that we have with the product that we're building is to me, innovation is about doing, not necessarily saying that it's Web3. Where indeed, like everything that Kelvin said just now, from the stigma around what is happening in the market sentiment, those are things that affect you, but there's still yet an incredible amount of interest. Where, for me, for example, as also the new generation, is something that I consistently say throughout my generation of content or at events like these is businesses do not want to miss out on the opportunity that they had when Instagram and TikTok start to pop up, because once they started to see interest in how beneficial this was to their businesses, they all wanted to hop on it. And I feel like a lot of people do not want to miss that wave, which to me, it feels like this is this next wave, because this is, to me, the next big thing. So I would say the main focus, or the biggest problem, is that the infrastructure is not in place, where I would love to give everyone a token in the room to kind of mark their attendance here, but of course not everyone has a digital wallet. And the kind of angle that we have is to kind of, like, we like to call ourselves Web 2.5, where we facilitate this onboarding. So in terms of minting a token, which is basically claiming it, you obtaining that digital asset or NFT. We facilitate, for example, reserved mintings where you can use your email address, which kind of puts you into a funnel where we educate you on how digital wallet works, how you can use your digital wallet, and how can you actually start to own this asset and what can you do with it. And then, of course, on the client side, we also educate the clients on, okay, how can you start to use this to, for example, identify your customers and host events and only give access to those that actually own certain tokens. So to answer your question directly, infrastructure, there needs to be more adoption of digital wallets and more understanding of how this technology works.
On the infrastructure point, I think, I was around when '99, when .com first started. I think I see a lot of similarities to me. Back then, anything with .com on it gets crazy valuations. It was these days with .io, everything gets crazy valuations. I think it took the internet, I think, if you think the bubble bursted in, 99, 2000, it took another 5 years pretty much for things to pick up, right? If you look at Alibaba, who was founded in '99, it's about roughly 2005 or 6 is when kind of things start getting better for them. So I think, patience is a little bit, it does take time for people to get used to it, for the infrastructure to build up, right? With the FTX incident, I think it's a consolidation process, right? There are clearly companies that stay behind, like other exchanges that are not affected. The weaker players will get weeded out, and the strongest will survive. But okay, let me go back to Martin there for a second. When you're selling this product, and you're selling this product out of Hong Kong, and you're selling it globally, I assume.
Yeah.
What is the biggest pushback for you when you sell it globally?
Yeah, it is the properties of the market, because different markets may have different needs or different requirements. For us, we are doing the material science. We follow the standard of Hong Kong and mainland China at the beginning to do the fabrication and manufacturing. But for different countries, they may have different standard, and we may need to fine-tune, to make our product to fit in with the policy in different countries. So we struggle a little bit in the past few months to fine-tune our formula and materials. And secondly, for some countries in northern part of the world, such as Europe or even the Japan, Tokyo, in winter they are quite cold. They are not only hot in summer, but they cold in winter. So they may lead the warming effects to their building in the winter season. So actually we spend a little bit time to do the research and to come up with the second generation of the technology, which is the thermochromic materials that can change the color subject to the ambient temperature. For example, in winter temperature, when the ambient temperature is lower than 20 degrees C, our material can change the color to a dark color, such as white, red or green or black, for example, and it can absorb the solar to keep the house warm. And in the summer, it can change back to white automatically to reflect the sunlight for cooling. So this is actually our R&D to fit in the market as well. And actually, in the university, we did the research, and we only focus on the reflectivity, high emissivity, the cooling performance for paper publication. But when we go into the market, to the real world, maybe different countries, the people may need different functions. That's why we can, based on the feedback from the markets, and then fine-tune our research to make it more like getting more close to the reality, and not only just focus on the number and publish the paper. I think this is the most, the greatest benefit I gain when I do the business after coming out of the lab.
Well, I don't know much about your technology, but given what's happening in Europe, maybe you should consider talking to some of our guests
definitely.
here. They might need your product this winter or the next. Yeah. Okay, I think we are kind of coming up on time a little bit. I want to kind of maybe at this point take a pause and see if there's any burning questions from the floor. Anybody wants to ask some questions? No? Everyone understood exactly what was said up here? All right, I might just pick on one of you and ask you a question and see if you can answer. All right. Since they're being a little bit shy, Daniel, I'll go right back to you. Being a international person, shall I say? I can't find the right word right now, but and seeing different businesses dealing with different people in the world. What are some of the advantages or disadvantages you see in Hong Kong?
I would say for me to get settled in Hong Kong, obviously it's quite overwhelming. I do have the advantage, of course, that I speak the language, Mandarin and a bit of Cantonese, which kind of initially directly shows a level of respect that I've really, integrated myself into the culture itself. I would say for me, one of the biggest struggles that I had was banking, making sure that you have a proper setup and finding the right people, especially as you're getting started. And I do think that me being 17 when I did all this was also another very important thing to consider when I was going through incorporating my company and all that stuff. But of course, with, for example, the Chambers of Commerce in Hong Kong in general, I think there was a lot of good assistance. And for me, being a foreigner in Hong Kong, understanding the culture, it's been extremely beneficial for my own personal growth as well as for my business, and being able to connect with a lot of international companies, because there's so much different kind of diversity in terms of countries as well as companies within Hong Kong, and especially as a young entrepreneur that is multidisciplinary and can think with other companies, and even for my own stuff, on a lot of different aspects. It's an extremely valuable place that you meet a lot of valuable people, and of course that also comes with a very good compensation, which is also extremely important. So I always tell anyone that asks me, like, why do you position yourself in Hong Kong? And it's because I'd like to surround myself with the elite. And in order to survive as a business, in order to thrive in Hong Kong, you need to have your stuff in order, because it's a place that does not, settle for less than a very elite prestige deliverable. So that's definitely, that also has pushed me, and I would say is kind of why Hong Kong to me is an incredibly special, important place.
Right. Thank you. Kelvin, how did Hong Kong help you?
I think Hong Kong has a lot of competitive advantages that we continue to have. The one country two system, the legal system and everything. I think people sort of take it for granted. But like, for example, it's like Hong Kong Science Park, for example, is actually quite amazing. Everywhere I go, I don't see a science park like that. And they can help us generate leads. They can basically give us a free office space, and the government, with the subsidies to help us hire tech talents. Obviously, I can always say you can increase the limit for us, right, and help us hire more, right? Because cost cutting is actually a gigantic thing for startups. So these are great things that I don't think gets talked about enough. But also, I think I totally understand that a lot of people have different concerns about Hong Kong and that kind of thing. And so it's just about really telling a better story to everyone in the world transparently, and all the benefits that Hong Kong actually offers. So, I'm not saying we don't face any challenges when we go abroad, and they have concerns, and rightfully so. But obviously, we do the best job to explain to them. Hong Kong is actually, still has all of these competitive advantages, and pretty much the same as before. So.
And the last question I have for all three of you basically is, what advice you would give to other young people who are probably looking at you today as examples. Maybe you want to starting a business, we venture into something new. What advice would you give them? So maybe we'll start with Martin.
So for my advice, that you don't need to a fear of failure, because when I did the research at the university, we faced a lot of difficulties at the beginning and failed a lot of times for the experiment. I think same for the doing the entrepreneur or making a startup. I think you may face a lot of difficulties, because you may not be an expert in all different areas. For example, like us, we are doing the science thing and engineering thing in the university. All of our team members at the beginning are technical background. So we actually didn't know a lot about business and marketing, this kind of things. And when we go into the market and we start to understand the business and legal things and marketing things, and try to promote our materials in the market. And we actually learned a lot, and Hong Kong government and our CTU, all of this kind of program, they help us a lot to connect us with the related resources from the society. So what I suggest is that you don't need to be afraid of the new area. You can just jump out of your comfort zone and try the new things.
Okay. Daniel?
I 100% agree. I would say you can only work with what you know, and kind of getting out of your comfort zone, which is something that I did at an extreme young age, has exposed me to so many different experiences that have broadened my perspective, that have resulted in more educated decisions on, for example, learning the language and basing myself here. Got to meet so many incredible, inspiring people, and kind of preparing yourself to where the future is headed, because borders are getting closer and closer to each other because of travel being more and more efficient, and you kind of just sticking in the bubble without exposing yourself to different experiences is something that I would not suggest anyone to do. Go out there and chase your dreams, and try and reverse engineer your perception of how fear works, because my fear is actually towards me not trying. And if I wouldn't try what I am doing right now, I would never ever forgive myself. So to anyone watching or anyone that wants to start and do anything, is start having fear for missed out potential, because yeah, I believe that a lot of people are capable of incredible things even beyond what they believe themselves. So that would be my main advice.
Thank you. And then we have Calvin, and then I think we have some questions from the audience. So, Calvin, have the last word.
Sure. I have two main advice, and both of which are tattooed on my forearm. So one of which is actually blood, toil, tears, and sweat, quoting the great Sir Winston Churchill. He said, "I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat." That literally encapsulates my entrepreneurial journey in the past few years. There's nothing harder than this. I always thought things are easy when I do other things, but this is actually tough. But I really very much enjoy it. I wouldn't trade it for anything else. And it's all about hard work and doing it with passion, with smart people that you get along with. The other quote would be "Sapere aude." It's actually from German Enlightenment philosopher Immanuel Kant. So "Sapere aude" is Latin. It basically means dare to use your own knowledge. So just be courageous and use your own knowledge. Be critical, have critical thinking and have unique insight. So,
Thank you very much for that. And I just want to be clear, his advice is not to tattoo those things on your forearm. It's just to, just to listen to them. Thank you very much for your sharing. I think we have questions from the audience.
Hello. Thanks, Danny. Can I just ask the first question to Dr. Martin?
Yeah, sure.
Can you mix your paint? I mean, can you mix your material into paint?
Yes, we actually, our final product is paint.
Yeah, but let's say with a paint factory, okay, which we do, can you just put your material inside our paint? Then we can just paint it, right? Then you apply after we finish painting, because it's double working, Firstly, that it's easily, when you say it's a new building, but for old building, I mean, believe me, there's a lot of holes in many buildings. You have airline cracks and things like that. How can you justify it? That's my first question. And my second question is to the three of you, is that, people like my age, I have failed many times. For the three of you, have you failed before?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chiu, for your question. For the first question, I think our materials, the core technology of our material is not the paint, but just the nanoparticle inside the emulsion. So in the beginning, we just focus on the building application. So we choose a water-based emulsion and mix our cooling particle inside. So actually, our cooling particles can just be mixed into many different kinds of emulsion or other polymer. We can use the technology in like some other oil-based or some paint for the vehicles to spray on top of the vehicles for the cooling. So actually, you raise a good point, is that we can provide a technology, for example, sell our cooling particles to the painting factory and let them develop their own product. And recently, actually, Doulas, they contacted us a few weeks ago. The technical team in Shanghai also want to do such kind of thing and collaborate with us. And we are still collaborating with them. And also the FWA group in China, the Yiqi Jituan, they also want to develop a coating that can spray on top of their vehicle such that they can develop a radiator cooling vehicle. That's why we are doing this kind of direction to collaborate with more different companies. And yeah, this is, I'm not sure whether it can address your concern. And for the building, I mean, especially for the renovation building, they may need to renew their waterproof material on the roof is like every 5 to 10 years. And actually our cooling paint can also combine with the waterproofing emulsion such that our paint can have two functions. One is the waterproof, another one is the cooling. We combine two in one so that the building owners don't need to spend double work in this way. We can just custom make our formula to fit within their applications. Yeah. Yeah,
And
and
at
for
the
the
ripe old
second,
age of 28, how many times have you failed?
yeah. The second question is that I did fail, especially when I was studying the PhD program. At the first year, I did a lot of experiment trying to fine tune the material. But at the beginning, I was not that familiar with the optical field because I just enrolled into the program. And in that year, I did a lot of research and read a lot of literature from the database, I mean the paper database bought by our university, and learn with the optical theory. And then in the second year, I tried to use the theory to optimize or give us some guideline to fine tune the material. And then I repeat a lot of times trying to come up with the best formula. And then we finally did it in the third year of my study, so that we can have the product last year, which is the third year of my study. And then in the last year of my PhD study, I actually did a lot of works about the application based on the successful manufacturing of the product in the third year. That's why I can say that everyone should not be a fear of the failure, because if you try your best to find out different methods to fine-tune your product, I think finally you can come up with a method to solve the problems.
Okay, Kelvin, you wanna go?
Cool, yeah. I think it depends on how you define failure. I think if failure is something that you want to achieve but you fail to satisfy yourself, then that is a failure. And I think, personally, I fail all the time. But at the same time, it's like, don't see it as a failure, see it as a learning. So I have this mentality called win or learn. It's basically from mixed martial arts. It's like, anything you do, try to do your best, but at the same time, if it's not satisfying yourself, then try to learn from it. And so in Chinese, we have, a saying, right? 失败乃成功之母. So, it's, all the learnings actually will accumulate to some success. So, but, I can share one example of I actually failed. For my master's degree, so I actually applied to Cambridge and I got in. They gave me a college and a room as well. But this master's requirement required me to get a first, so 70%. Guess what I got? I got 69%, right? And so, so I got my room and everything, but they say, unfortunately, we would love you to be here, but we can't. We have to abide by the rules. So that is one failure, because I had always wanted to go to Cambridge. But but at the end of the day, I think it changed my mindset totally, because I was kind of I would say half-assing everything, because I was also playing in the band and stuff like that as well, and that just changed my mindset totally. So I go with everything now, if I care about it, 150%, 200%. So just to sort of get what I want to achieve. So.
All right, and we saved the best for last. 25.
I have failed horribly to the point where I had to end my lease in Hong Kong, where I had to move in back to my parents, where I really questioned every single thing that I've ever done through my entire life, where I didn't even know if I was doing the right thing. And I didn't learn it from martial arts, but you did bring that up, and my mother, who's somewhere in the world now, currently watching this for sure on the live stream, has taught me a very valuable lesson, which indeed is you win or you learn. And looking back at all the failures that I have had myself is, I think you turn it into a strength, where I kind of, even with the teams that I work with, is I always say, smart people make mistakes, but not so smart people make mistakes twice. And that kind of concludes that every kind of failure that you have is take that as a learning, because no one is perfect, everyone messes things up, but it's more about what you do with the failure. And that is something that I consistently remind myself of as a young entrepreneur, and also trying to be an example for the other young entrepreneurs out there, is that it's okay to fail, as long as you do the right thing with it.
Great, thank you very much for all that sharing. There's a lot of wisdom in there, and I hope that young people who are watching could learn something from not only the stuff that they do, but the spirit that you guys have. Thank you very much. I assume there's no more questions, so thank you. This concludes our session.
Thank you for the insightful sessions. Would all speakers please take a step forward for a group photo? Thank you once again for the sharing by all speakers. Next up, we will have the Federation's Awards presentation ceremony. Please stay in your seat. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 23rd Hong Kong Forum. Next up, we'll be delighted to announce the winners of the Federation's Awards program, which aims to celebrate and recognize business associations and member associates for their accomplishments and milestones. Before we announce the award winners, may we now invite Ms. Alexandria Sham, Chairman of the Awards Committee, to come on stage for an introductory remarks. Would all guests please be seated?
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I know we're all very excited to get on with the awards after such a great day of events and the last panel. But I do ask for your patience, as this is a very tremendous celebration we're able to do now. It gives me immense pleasure to commend your good work through the awards ceremony, which is especially meaningful this year, given the wonderful opportunity to see you all face to face and exchange good wishes and words of encouragement. We have risen up to counter the pandemic challenges over the last 2 years, and I would like to thank all of you here for the great effort made in sustaining the growth and promotion of the Federation and your own business associations. And they are all very worthy of praise. Special thanks to my fellow committee members, and they are Mr. Dixon Chu from Malaysia. He is joining us virtually right now. Mr. Laszlo Bianco from Hungary, Ms. Fionn Chong from Nevada, Mr. Alexander De Beer from Belgium, and Ms. Cindy Ho from Canada, and last but not least, Mr. Andrew Sayers from New Zealand, for all their contributions throughout the year for the awards committee. This is another exciting year to receive so many interesting, innovative, and inspiring entries from our members across all regions worldwide. With the unfailing support from the Hong Kong Business Associations worldwide, we have received 34 entries for the 3 categories, namely, first, the Outstanding Membership Award, which recognizes the tireless efforts of the associations and chapters in expanding their membership size. The second one is the Best Initiative Award, which was evaluated based on projects with the most effective promotional strategies in enhancing the profile of Hong Kong and the business associations around the world. And last but not least, our brand new Young Member Startup Award. As the Federation network grows, it has been one of our core missions to encourage young entrepreneurship and to engage more young members' participation. The Young Member and Startup Award is therefore aimed at recognizing the achievements made in youth development and developing startup or innovative business ideas. Each of your award entry is valued, so thank you very much. This is going to be an exciting night, including the presentation of 19 awards altogether. So get ready to welcome our winners on stage to collect their big check, and they are big checks, and a big congratulations in advance to all of our upcoming winners. It's a proud moment to celebrate the collective achievement of everyone. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Alexandria. We shall now present our first award this evening, the Outstanding Membership Award. Regional grand prizes will be awarded to the top association from each region, which achieved the greatest absolute increase in membership over the past year. In addition to the regional grand prize, there's also a percentage increase achievers prize to be awarded to associations having their membership increase by more than 10% over the past year. May I now invite Mr. Andrew Sayers, member of the Awards Committee, to present the prizes for us. Andrew, please. First, for Americas, the grand prize goes to Hong Kong Canada Business Association, Calgary Session. They are also the percentage increase achiever. Congratulations. Thank you. Next, for Asia and Australasia, the grand prize goes to Hong Kong Chamber of Commerce in Shanghai. They are also the percentage increase achiever. Congratulations. Thank you. Other percentage increase achiever of this year in this region goes to Hong Kong Chamber of Commerce in Guangdong. Thank you. Another percentage increase achiever, also from Asia and Australasia, goes to Hong Kong Chamber of Commerce in Liaoning. Thank you. Finally, for Europe, the grand prize goes to Portugal-Hong Kong Chamber of Commerce and Industry. They are also the percentage increase achiever. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations again to all winners, and thank you, Andrew. Next, we shall now present this year's Best Initiative Award. This year, we have received a number of quality and innovative entries from the 3 regions. Each region will be awarded with 2 regional grand prizes. May I now invite Ms. Cindy Ho, member of the awards committee, to present the prizes for us. Cindy, please. Regional grand prizes will be awarded to the top 2 associations from each region. First, the winner from America is Hong Kong Association of New York. Thank you. Another winner from America is Hong Kong Canada Business Association, Calgary session. Thank you. Next, the winner from Asia and Australasia is Hong Kong Australia Business Association Limited, New South Wales chapter. Thank you. Another winner, also from the region of Asia and Australasia, is Hong Kong Chamber of Commerce in Shanghai. Thank you. Finally, the winner from Europe is Netherlands Hong Kong Business Association. Thank you. Another winner, also from the region of Europe, is Portugal Hong Kong Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Thank you. Congratulations again, and thank you, Cindy. Last but not least, we shall now present the Young Member and Startup Award, which is this year's news award to reward the efforts of Hong Kong business associations to develop its young membership and encouraging business associations to nominate startups from the youth chapter to run for the award. Special thanks to the Federation's Youth Committee in encouraging their association to submit their entries. May I now invite Mr. Bernardo Mendia, Chairman of the Federation's Youth Committee, to present the prizes for us. Bernardo, please. First, for Americas, the grand prize for Young Member Development Award goes to Hong Kong Association of Southern California. Thank you. Next, for Asia and Australasia, the grand prizes for Youth Member Development and Best Startup Award goes to Hong Kong Singapore Business Association and their member, Moen Digital Holdings. Thank you. Finally, for Europe, the grand prizes for Young Member Development and Best Startup Award goes to Denmark Hong Kong Trade Association and their member, Liber Beverages Limited. Thank you. Thank you, Bernardo. Once again, congratulations to all winning associations for your great work over the past year. We would also like to take this opportunity to thank our award program applicants for their full support to the program. We have now come to an end of the Hong Kong Forum 2022. Thank you all for your participation and support physically and online from all over the world. Hope to see you again in our next edition. Have a nice day.